Good morning and welcome to the Unitarian Church of Edmonton. My name is Karen Mills and I have the delight this morning of being a co-service leader as part of this beautiful service that Gordon Ritchie and Susan Rattan have created based on the writings of Richard Wagamese. And whether you are joining us in person today, online today, or at some future point, know that you are welcome here. The Unitarian Church of Edmonton celebrates a rich mosaic of free-thinking, spiritually questing individuals joined in common support and action. We welcome diversity, including diversity of beliefs, from divine believers to humanists, from pagans to atheists and agnostics, and we believe in the compassion of the human heart, the warmth of community, the pursuit of justice, and the search for meaning in our lives. If you're new here, we invite you to stay for coffee and fellowship following the service. And if you've not already done so, please visit our membership desk and look around at some of the brochures and information that we have. And know that you are welcome to stay and chat. And there's not very many shy wallflowers here. So if you're sort of inundated with conversation, just kind of know that's the norm. We do have one announcement before we begin our service, and I'll invite Andrew Mills to come forward with that right now.
Good morning. My name's Andrew Mills, and I have the pleasure of being the treasurer of this church. And you've heard from me all through March about Canvas, and thank you all for everybody that put in their pledges. There's still a few to come, and we have some people doing some phone rounds to try to track the last of them down. But now the canvas is done, it's time to raise the roof. So you know we all have a leaky roof that is about to get fixed. We're just waiting for that to be scheduled, so probably in the next 3 to 4 weeks, we'll probably see the roof get done. And that roof is going to cost us $140,000, which is pretty much all that we've got in reserve. So out in the lobby, I've put up a display that shows details of the roof. It shows the materials that are going to be used by the contractors to repair the roof. And there are donation envelopes available for the Raise the Roof Fund. Now, don't forget to pay your pledges first. But once you paid your pledges, we would appreciate a little extra for the roof, please. All donations to the Raise the Roof Fund go into our reserves. The reserves are being spent on the roof, and this will help replenish those reserves. Thank you all very much.
As we begin our service, we have Chorealis this morning, and so that we can hear them, I'd invite you to turn off anything that might otherwise beep or buzz or make interesting noises during the service. And we're going to begin with a prelude. Yes, and you may know it. If you want to sing along with it, that's fine too.
From Good morning, everyone. My name is Gordon Ritchie. My pronouns are he, him. I have been wanting to do this for a very, very long time. I have a very special land acknowledgement for you this morning. What I'd like to do is take you on a little trip across the Tuatna Bridge located in the Edmonton River Valley. This 260-meter bridge connecting the communities of Cloverdale and Riverdale was opened in December 2021. This shared youth passway features hundreds of art panels designed by local Métis artist David Garneau, whose Métis family first settled in this area in 1847. The artist worked with Indigenous elders to channel what images should be depicted in the collage images installed on the bridge. As my husband and Robert and I walked across the bridge for the very first time, I was captivated by the 550 images that Garneau and his team had created. One of the first images that caught my eye was the combination of a human heart and a strawberry. Okay, is it ringing a bell? Maybe. I was reminded of one of the newly named Edmonton city wards that makes reference to wild strawberries growing in the heart of the city. I had a feeling I was onto something. I then spotted the image of a woodpecker. Papasteo was a highly respected Indigenous leader whose name translates as woodpecker. Papasteo is the new Indigenous name for Ward 8. A few steps away was the image of a meteorite. To me, this was an obvious reference to the Manitou stone in the Sapaume-Tapi ward, formerly known as Ward 12. The stone was shared by all tribes and was a place where Blackfoot would travel to perform ceremony. At the opening of the bridge on that crisp December afternoon, the artist told the crowd that there were no written documents explaining the meaning and significance of the images. This is not the Indigenous way. He suggested that the viewer spend time with the images and in doing so, intuitively understand their meaning. And so we gather today with gratitude on Treaty 6 territory. May we continue to respect the history, languages, cultures of First Nations, Inuit, Métis, and all First Peoples of Canada, whose presence continues to enrich our vibrant community. Our first hymn this morning is number 1066, found in your teal hymn books. The text will be appearing on the screen behind me and also on the screens of your computers, those of you who are with us online. The words were adapted from St. Francis of Assisi by Sharon Anway, and as Unitarian Universalists, we respect the tradition from whence it came. You will notice that the words are very gender specific. However, I saw this as an appropriate hymn for our service this morning. Here at UCE, we need to be aware of our language. It is important that all feel welcomed and included. And so with that in mind, I invite you to rise as you are willing and able as we join in singing hymn number 1066.
Thank you.
like to invite Sue to read our opening words.
Thanks, Gordon. My name is Susan Lynch, and I'm going to read you words written by Matthew Johnson entitled "For 5,000 Years or More." For 5,000 years or more than 15,000 generations, human beings have been invoking spiritual power. My predecessors and yours have gathered together to make sense of their lives and their place in the cosmos. And they've spoken aloud and invited what they conceived as sacred and powerful to be there with them. They call upon the spirits of air and earth, fire and water. They called the bear and the deer. They asked for the raven to protect them. They pleaded for heroes of old to slay the monsters of their fears. They sang songs they learned from their grandparents and moved in appointed ways or in ways that were new, but felt like the right thing to do. And they imputed power to those spirits and to the memories of those heroes. They called them gods, and they were invoked: Vishnu, Kali, Elohim, Odin, and hundreds of millions of others. Every group of people everywhere, they gathered to make sense of their lives and to make sense of their place in the cosmos, and they called these spirits to present to them, to be present for them. And so do we. So do we. We gather this morning to make sense of ourselves and this universe in which we live as best we are able. And we call ourselves to worship together. And we invoke the power and wonder of life itself, that to which all those spirits of animals and memories of heroes pointed the way. We invoke that power which is, we know, always around, always with us, but which we sometimes forget about. We forget that we are part of the whole of creation. We forget that we are stardust. We forget that we are capable of miracles. First among them, that we are capable of love. We forget these things. So we invoke the power of existence so that we can remember, so that we can lift our eyes and open our ears to the true and the beautiful. For 5,000 years or more, we've done this. In many tongues and in many ways, we have done this. And so we continue that ancient tradition in our way and in our time. And so let us now worship together.
Thank you, Sue. The words for our chalice lighting this morning are entitled "Committed to Respond." They're from Pagan and earth-centered voices in Unitarian Universalism. Susan Rattan has been quite and remains to be quite the enthusiast of the work of Richard Wagamese, and is the reason for this service. We thank her for her interest in his work and bringing it to us. And so with that in mind, I've asked Susan to come and light our chalice this morning. Committed to respond to a call of a wounded world, we join together this day with loving hearts, minds, and hands, embracing the interconnected web of water, air, and earth. We light a fire of sustaining hope, ever bright with love and justice. May we bring forth this day new wisdom, strength, and courage to create a new world, not of wealth, but well-being, a world of new peace and abundance for all. And as we give thanks for this earth, our shared and singular home, may we dedicate ourselves to its ongoing care. rising to the calls deep within us and all around us, may we respond today and always with courage and with love. Thank you, Susan. And now Susan will give us our first reading. You're not done. Get down here.
Yes, this is our first reading by Richard Wagamese. From our very first breath, we are in relationship. With that indrawn draft of air, we become joined to everything that ever was, is, and ever will be. When we exhale, we forge that relationship by virtue of the act of living. Our breath commingles with all breath, and we are a part of everything. That's the simple fact of things. We are born into a state of relationship, and our ceremonies and rituals are guides to lead us deeper into that relationship with all things. Big lesson: relationships never end, they just change. In believing that lies the freedom to carry compassion, empathy, love, kindness, and respect into and through whatever changes. We are made more by that practice. Oh, wait. And now we are going to sing Breaths, hymn number 1001, but the words will be up here.
Every week we take an offering to support not only the work of this church, but to a larger organization. This week, because there was such a perfect reading from Richard Wagamese, we're going to begin our offering with a reading, and then after that's done, I would invite the ushers to take the collection as I talk about where our charity of the month is going. Oh, which I need my phone for. Richard writes, "Everything begins with humility. The great circle of energy that comprises our being is driven by it. Without the guiding energy of humility, all other spiritual principles are diminished. It's possible to learn without them, to practice them, but their vital foundation, their best intent, does not function as highly without humility at the helm. In the long ago time, as the legends say, the animal people existed with humility at their core. They spoke to each other as equals. They helped each other. And when new beings appeared among them, they sought to help, to guide, and to teach. There was no hierarchy. They did not need hierarchy because the spiritual byproduct of humility is sharing. My people say that for every spiritual principle, there is a byproduct. That newly created energy is most always in an action, a motion that is energized by that principle. In the case of humility, it is sharing. Sharing is not about goods or food or money. Rather, its intention is the stuff of the spirit: understanding, empathy, compassion, love, kindness, honor. And when something is shared from the spiritual wellspring, it is offered unconditionally. That is the true nature of giving, humbly offering in recognition of all that makes us kin." So I think those are great words as we consider our offering. This month, the charity that we are going to give half the unidentified contributions to is one I'm sure that many of you are familiar with. It's Child Haven. And that's an organization started by a Unitarian minister and his wife, Fred and Bonnie Cappuccino. They live out their principles in amazing ways. I mean, most apparent, I think, by the fact that they've adopted and nurtured 19 children. But they also are running 12 sites through India, Nepal, Bangladesh, with orphanages, micro businesses for helping women create their own well-being and financial independence. And in that saying of a little goes a long way, I think this is truly remarkable. They've just put out a new gift catalog that people can purchase, kind of like the ones that you might get from UNICEF or something like that at Christmas time. But $20 can provide soya milk for a child for an entire year. $20 can also provide fruit and vegetables for 10 children for a month. If you've been grocery shopping lately, you know that's remarkable. So I think that's incredible. But the piece that I really wanted to share with you, and ushers, you can go ahead and start while I read this. Every newsletter that comes out from Child Haven has something called Bonnie Lore. And it's always subtitled, "By Fred Cappuccino, Her Long-Suffering Husband." Now, both of them have tremendous senses of humor, but this is always a great place to find it. And this month, the story was about a time when they had 2 new children come to their orphanage and tried to get them enrolled in the public school, and it was mid-year, and the principal said, "Oh no, we don't take children mid-year. They'll have to wait until next year." And they said, "Well, what are they supposed to, they've already lost their parents, they've had to move to an orphanage, now are you going to deny them school for a year?" And he said, "Well, that's not really my problem. It's the rules, it's what the rules say, so I can't let them into school." And so the manager of the home didn't really know what to do with this, so he phoned Bonnie. And she said that if the principal was not going to let these very deserving children continue their education, then it was not a school that children should be attending. And that the manager should remove all of their children from the school and transfer them to another school nearby. They had 200 children going to this school. Apparently, losing our 200 or so elementary children would have reduced the allocation of funds to the school from the government, and suddenly the principal was very welcoming to these 2 children, and they never had an enrollment problem again. So, you would know that your money was going to somebody with a little bit of feistiness. Let us sing From You I Receive. From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live.
The words for our message this morning come from a book entitled One Drum by Richard Wagamese. The planet is an epitome of a humble being. Our Mother Earth exists for the sole purpose of creating a haven for other beings, other life forms. She exists as a teacher to show us how by her living example, we live a good life. Within the framework of expressing herself to her highest degree, Mother Earth shows us examples of humility in action. She shows us the principles of being. She shows us harmony, unity, loyalty, fidelity, trust, interdependence, forgiveness, compassion, and empathy. When my people looked around themselves, they saw what a powerful force for learning the planet was. The teachers and spiritual leaders knew that Mother Earth herself was the mirror that they were looking for to show the Anishinaabe how to lead good lives. When they developed ceremony, they used the earth as the foundation. There were no temples, no cathedrals, no grand edifices erected to show the world how much faith they carried or what good and faithful worshipers they were. The planet was their shrine. They took themselves out onto the land and sat on her breast. They allowed their feet to walk upon her, and they allowed themselves the opportunity to feel her heartbeat through the articulation of ceremony with the planet. They entered her university and learned how humble a being our Mother Earth is. Humble beings exist as a matter of fact. They do not draw attention to themselves. They exist quietly. They live simply, and they simply live. As the Ojibway watched the earth, as they learned her rhythms and her motions, they and other indigenous people around the world learned that humility is the most powerful force of creation. Out of humility spring the teachings, and out of the teachings spring principles. For if humility is the fertile soil from which all things sprout and grow, then principles, these ongoing acts of humility, the relentless march to our highest possible expressions of ourselves, are the vegetation of our beings. We cannot exist without them. For just as the great trees use the earth to anchor their roots to sustain themselves, so too do the trees breathe in during the process we call photosynthesis and exhale in the process known as transpiration to create water vapor, which becomes rain that falls down to nurture the soil. It is a circle. It is never ending. It is continuous. It is a humble relationship. So humility engenders principles. Principles drive the relationship. The relationship sustains life. When the wise ones watched the earth, they saw that and sought to bring it to the people. It happened everywhere, all around the world. When people sat with the earth, they learned the same lessons. It wasn't just sagacity pertaining to the Ojibway or indigenous North Americans exclusively. The great forgotten truth of our reality as human species is that we all come from somewhere. We all began our cultural journey somewhere on the planet, and because of that, we are all indigenous to her. Everyone. But we learned to use our minds. We learned to think, to rationalize, to know separation. And as we practice separation, we learned disconnection and disharmony. As civilizations developed on their various paths, we learned to feel superior. We learned to control. We learned to use physical power. We learned to exercise our fear masked as progress, the wish for more power and control. Great empires were born. And as they flourished, the idea that we are all indigenous, that we are all tribal people, banished in the march towards progress. We learn to exist from the grand illusion that we can control things on the planet. Out of that illusion sprang another. Its name was technology. We learned the magic of devices and instruments of control. And we devoted tremendous thought and energy to inventing more and more. But each invention moved the human family further away from the truth of itself. That we are all tribal people, and we need each other. When those with technology encountered those without the need for it, the latter were called savages. The myth of superiority allowed the technology owners to justify physical, emotional, and spiritual invasions into the lives of the savage ones. The land became a resource, and as such came to represent greatness. So those with technology simply took the land that those without it lived on and used it to fulfill their desires to control. The story of the human family is a story of separation from the teachings of the planet. Separation from each other, and separation from the truth that we are all tribal people. That is what we were created to be. Returning to the implications of that teaching in the path to resolution of all difficulties. And that path is blazed in humility and in turn by principles. Humility in action.
The wisdom of the great Chief Seattle reminds us, all things are connected. Whatever befalls the earth, befalls the children of the earth. All things share the same breath. The beast, the tree, the man. The air shares its spirit with all the life it supports. We did not weave the web of life. We are merely a strand in it. Whatever we do to the web, we do to ourselves. This we know.
All things are connected. All living share the same breath. All things are connected. The air shares its spirit with all life. All things are connected, just like the bond which unites us all. All
the earth well. It was not given to you by your parents, it was loaned to you by your children. We do not inherit the earth from our ancestors, we borrow it from our children. After the last tree has been cut down, only after the last river has been poisoned, only after the last fish has been caught, only then will we find money cannot be eaten.
All things are connected.
We wake to a day of worry, but it's a time to remember that we are Homo sapiens, translated literally to mean wise man. And even though we have the greatest capacity for cruelty of any creature in creation, we also have the staunchest capacity for love, mercy, compassion, acceptance, forgiveness, empathy, and kindness. We're built for survival because of those virtues. One person cannot change that. It will be a difficult time. But we are given knees on which to offer our humility to Creator, and legs to stand strong in the face of adversity, and hearts and minds and spirits wired for community. We have hands to reach out to one another. We have the inherent knowledge that we are one family. That is our saving grace.
We have hands to reach out to one another. We have the inherent knowledge that we are one family. And so as one family, as one beloved community, we care for one another. We support one another. We challenge one another. But we are there for one another. And so to acknowledge that, we light candles. For those of you who are with us online, I invite you to write your thoughts into the chat, your prayers, your blessings, your wishes, your hopes, your fears. For those of you here in the sanctuary, if you wish, I invite you to, at a moment, to enter our circle over on this side. Our tapers are here. We have our candle stations on either side of the table with a glass of water to douse your candle and a basket to put your taper in once you are done. And so to take us into a moment of connection, I invite Susan forward for another reading by Richard Wagamese.
Medicine burns when touched by fire. The smoke curls and spirals upward, plumes of it rising, swirling, pushing themselves in ribbons higher and higher, until the smell of it becomes the ancient aroma of blessing, teaching, and communion. Within its fragrant cloud, you can feel peace descend upon you. There is spirit here. You can feel it if you allow it, and that is the heart of the teaching, the allowing. If you close your eyes and breathe, drawing both air and blessing inside you, and then exhaling long and slow and languidly, you can come to know that harmony is a living thing if you allow it. When you do, the act of burning medicine becomes a ceremony, and in this small ritual way, you are transformed, at once becoming more spirit than physical self. And the blessing is the feeling that comes over you. Emotion becomes your own medicine, rising with the smoke higher and higher and higher, until it reaches that point of disappearing, vanishing, changing worlds, and bearing your thought and hope and prayer outward into the realm of the spirit world, where all petitions are heard. This is spiritual. This is truth. This is Indian. So if you'd like to light a candle, I invite you to come forward now. Yes, start.
Richard Wagamese writes, "The world is changeable, but the truth stays the same. Life is a whirlwind of change. Accidents happen, people get ill, loved ones die, the bottom sometimes falls out of things. But the truth is that we all exist under the hand of grace. That stays consistent, always. It's believing that through the harder times and acting from that belief that allows me to experience the whole gamut of life without buckling, regressing, isolating, or giving up. My people say that there is teaching in everything, and to follow ceremony is to always look for the teaching, and its core, the universal light. May it be so." The choir has a song that I know some of you have heard before, but this time we decided to invite you to join in on singing the chorus. The words will be coming up on the screen behind me. They were adapted by our very own Susan Rattan. The choir will start. We'll sing through the chorus twice during that time. You're welcome to join in. We have 3 verses after each verse that the choir sings. Again, you are invited to join in on the chorus. This is called "Cherish the Earth."
The elders say that Creator is perfect, loving energy. Within the realm of perfect love, there is no judgment. If there is no judgment, then there can be no failure. In turn, if failure does not exist, there is no unworthiness. We are all one energy, we are all worthy, and we always were. A ceremony is simply a way to bring our energy into the great flow of creative energy that is the universe. Ceremony is a way to allow our emotional energy to encounter the wonder, the awe, and the reverence that comes from an encounter with the divine or the sacred. This ceremony that I'm going to invite you to share in is called the Sacred Breath Ceremony. Relax. Let go of all tensions or expectations or plans. Close your eyes. Breathe. As you breathe, allow yourself to feel the process. Notice the way the air feels coursing through your nose or through your mouth. Feel the swell of your chest as it fills your lungs. Feel the way your muscles and your ribs react. Feel the quiet and the stillness all around you. As you settle into your breath, try to pull your breath deeper into you, into your center. Breathe this way until you feel the rhythm of your breath, slow and measured. Now, allow one thought to be present. I am one with creation. In and out, slowly breathe and allow that one thought to be present. I am one with creation. Over and over again, allow yourself to sink into it completely. I am one with creation. Allow yourself to feel the power of this simple ceremony. And continuing, let us enter the silence together.
Would like to invite Susan forward for our closing words by Richard Wagamese.
Just to tell you that I worked at the Calgary Herald for several years when Richard was there. We all knew he was at a level we could never, ever touch. Final words. Whoops, they're not the final words. The only extraordinary thing I've done is to never allow the mistakes of my past to discolor or erode my hope for the future. Because it's not the big things that add up in the end. It's the hundreds, thousands, millions of little things we do on a regular basis that define our lives as extraordinary, like teaching someone to love the taste of cold blueberries, or how to find a planet in the night sky, or how perfectly a Brahms sonata fits a rainy morning. These are the extraordinary things that define a life. Blessed be. And are you going to announce?
You, because you're doing a fine job.
I know. We're going to sing now, and it's called Call Us Again, and oh, there it is.
And word by Audrey. Text by Audrey.
And text by Audrey. Audrey Brooks. I did not know that.
I'll ask Susan to come up and extinguish our chalice as I close with words from guess who? Richard Wagamese. My people say that there will also come a time when a new flame is lit. A new fire will burn, and the human family will gather about it for shelter, warmth, community, and belonging. This new flame will be ignited by the embers of those old tribal fires we have in common. There will be a returning to teachings that draw us together instead of pushing us apart. As these teachings are renewed, the human family will gather together, and the energy of that joining will heal the planet, if we allow it. We'll close with a postlude called Music of Life, and then invite you to sing Carry the Flame.
Before we sing Carry the Flame, I have a lot of thank yous to make. There are many, many people that make these services possible. Slide people, greeters, ushers, choirs who work endlessly and with very harsh conductors who push them where no choir member has ever gone before. Our extraordinary high-tech team, those who are supporting us online, thank you all. Thank you for those who have been with us online. Thank you for all those who have come today to hear the amazing text of Richard Wagamese. And I hope it has inspired you to go out and read some more of his wonderful work. And so it is our tradition to join hands, if you are willing and able, and sing together our closing song, Carry the Flame.